Hello, Geminis, and welcome to this, your December 1st through December 15th reading and predictions. If you are new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video and joining. And for those of you returning, thank you so much for continuing to support my channel. All right, Gemini, the last video that I did for you was for the time frame November 15th through November 30th, and the cards that came up were indicating slow and steady wins the race. Just keep right on plugging along. And you also had the devil come up in your last reading, trying to tempt you away from that which you were meant to be concentrating on. Let's take a look at what's going on for you guys now. All right, the first cards that we're going to pull for you, Gemini, are going to be cards of where you are at now. And for those of you who are new here, I just wanted to give you the heads up. I do not edit my videos. What you see is what you get. Authenticity, the video may shake, rattle, and roll. I may stumble over my words. Cards may go flying, and I might have to get up. It is what it is. All right, so we just have one card that has popped out for you here, and it is the card that I like to call the accountability card. It's the Eight of Swords. And the meaning behind this card is, if you look at the card, you'll notice that there is a character on here who is blindfolded, tied up, and surrounded by swords. And the meaning behind this card is that sometimes we feel like we're powerless. Sometimes we feel like we don't have the ability or the capacity to be able to get out of a certain situation. But the meaning behind this card is that when we are accountable to how we got into that situation, when we recognize how we got into that situation and who's responsible for where we are at in our lives, then the blindfold comes off. And this is probably one of the most difficult decisions that anybody has to learn, Gemini. So, I mean, sure, there are certain global situations that happen to masses of people that it's out of their control. And, you know, then we're getting into decisions that were made on a soul level as to why they're here and why they are in that particular situation. But when this card comes up, we're more talking about things that happen on an individual situation, individual level. So, for example, someone who is in the midst of getting a divorce. I'm not saying that that's your situation at this point in time, Gemini, but I'm using it as an example to explain the meaning behind this card so that you can understand the interpretation of where you are at now and the lessons that the universe is giving you at this time. So, for example, an individual is getting a divorce and they feel like they've been blindsided. They feel like they are blindfolded. They feel like their hands are tied behind their back and like there's no way out. But the thing is that when they are feeling that way, they're giving away their power. Because once the decision has been made to that one party wants out of a relationship, i.e., get a divorce, the other party has to look at the role that they played in that as well. There is accountability on both parties' parts. And so playing the victim role isn't going to benefit anyone. And that's really what this card is about. It's about recognizing and seeing the bigger picture and the role that we play in the situations in which we find ourselves. How did we get into that situation? And when we take full responsibility, and we are accountable for why we are where we are at in our lives, both the good side as well as the bad side. We are where we are in our lives financially because we, for the most part, put ourselves in that situation through our belief systems about money. We are either in a relationship or not in a relationship because of our belief systems about who our partner should be, could be, etc. Okay, that's essentially what this card is talking about when you get down to the nitty-gritty. And so, Gemini, where are you at right now? Are you feeling like you are blindfolded and tied up? And are you taking responsibility for being in that situation, or are you pointing fingers? Only you can answer that question, Gemini, but that is what's coming up at this time. Let's take a look at what you are focusing on for the first half of December. What are the Geminis focusing on? Where are they placing their attention? Oh, and that one's on the floor. See, I told you. Eventually, cards go on the floor, and like I said, I don't edit. It is what it is. Okay. So we do have two cards out, one of which is on the floor. Okay. You have the Seven of Autumn as the first card. This is the Seven of Pentacles. This is a card of contemplation. This is a card of take a step back, sit down, rest upon a great big pumpkin, eat an apple, and chill out, and just think about things. Think about life. Think about options, and think about next steps. The other thing that this card brings up is a sense of patience. When the Seven of Pentacles comes up, it is about, okay, I've put in all this work. Where's my kudos? Okay, I'm putting in work. How come I'm not being recognized for it? And again, that comes into this Eight of Swords as well, is if you are looking for validation but not receiving it, have a look in the mirror. Is there an expectation of recognition that either is undeserved or most likely is just something that is not typically given under certain circumstances? So at this time, one of the things you are focusing on is taking a step back, relaxing, chilling out, looking at and having some patience and looking at next steps. It's a planning card, which is perfect because the card that you have right next to this Seven is the Sun card, and this is a card of plans work out perfectly for you. But you have to have a plan. If you don't have a plan, the plans can't work out for you. So these two cards are actually working together for you, Gemini, that at this time you need to have a plan. Sit back, relax, make a plan, be patient about making your plan, but the sun is shining on your plans at this time. We're going to go over here for what is challenging you. Have a look at what you're bumping up against with regards to making these plans. I think we might see some accountability again come up somewhere out in here. Let's have a look. We've got one card that flipped out. Yeah. This card I just flipped over. Before I even flipped it over, I had said it looks like we might see some excuse me, some accountability coming in, and again, we do with the Mirror Guardian. So this card, the very first card in your reading, was the Eight of Swords. It was about, take a look. Why are you in the situation that you're in? And then here you've got make some plans. Your plans will work out ultimately, but you do need to take some time, have some patience, make some plans. And then you have the Mirror Guardian, and the Mirror Guardian is take time to reflect. But there's a double meaning behind take time to reflect, because the take time to reflect is not only about planning, but it's also take time to reflect and decide, everyone in our lives who comes into our lives who causes our own demons to stir is there because they are a mirror, and they are reflecting something that we know is within ourselves that we dislike back to us, to cause our own little demons to stir, so that we can bring that to the surface and explore, hey, why is that bothering me? And that's what this card is calling upon you to do. And again, this card is about accountability. Have a look in the mirror and see what's going on, Gemini. Because when we recognize this, the Mirror Guardian and the Eight of Swords are both cards of doing some deep shadow work. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. Take a look in the mirror and determine the circumstances that you are currently experiencing. If you like them, great, continue to do that. If you don't like what you see when you look in the mirror, dig deeper. Take time to reflect and figure out what it is that you dislike, and then begin to make the changes. Because change comes from within us. It doesn't come from outside. We cannot cause others to change, Gemini. We have to change ourselves. And when we change ourselves, that's when the magic happens. The next cards that we're going to pull for you are going to be cards that the universe wants you to hear, the messages the universe wants you to hear at this time. 2 cards out. Okay, 2 messages that the universe wants you to hear at this time. First one, possess self-confidence. Yes. Okay. One of the things that many people don't like about themselves is their own lack of self-confidence. And when somebody walks past them who is extremely confident in their own skin, it causes their own little demons to get ruffled and go, ugh, I don't like that person. Look at the confidence that they're exuding. Except we don't use the word confidence, right? We would use a word that would have a negative connotation to it. Oh my God, look at that person. They're so conceited. Instead of recognizing, hey, there is something that stirred deep within me when I saw that person walk by, exuding a whole lot of confidence. And so I went to that dark place of being critical. That's shadow work. It's not big. It's not scary. A lot of people go, oh my God, shadow work. It's so big and scary. It's not. It's about looking at that which outside of us stirs something deep within us that we may dislike, that may cause us to jump to criticism. And when we look at ourselves, we realize, okay. Possessing self-confidence is not a negative. But for many people, they view self-confidence in others as a negative because they themselves are not feeling as confident as they could be feeling once they explore and do their shadow work. Again, one of the reasons that we may not possess self-confidence is not just shadow work, but it's also because we are feeling like we don't have a plan right now. These cards are saying focus on a plan, develop a plan. When you focus on your plan and you have a clear vision of what it is that you want to accomplish, Gemini, a lot of this shadow work is going to go out the window. You're not even going to have to do it. It's going to become a non-starter. Why? Because when you have a plan, then what do you possess? Confidence. All right. Death is an illusion. Not quite sure how that fits into everything, Gemini. I'm sure that that resonates for some of you. It's a message that the universe wanted Gemini to hear at this time, but it is what it is. All right. We're going to move into that which is unexpected for you. Unexpected insights and influences for Gemini for the first half of December 2023. All right, one more time. There's a loose card in there. Yeah, there they go. I knew they were there. All right. Unexpected. Okay. Unexpected. You have fellow travelers. Support is all around you. I don't think I can expand upon that card very much for you, Gemini. The reality is that as you're going through doing this shadow work and as you're making a plan to move forward into 2024, remember that there is support all around you. Now, you may have felt unsupported in the recent days and months, but this card is your reminder that there is help and support around you. You stand in the light of truth. Now, again, this card, I'm going to wait for my camera to catch up. There we go. This card is about accountability. Stand in the light of your own truth. Know your truth. Know why you are triggered when certain people come around. Know why you have almost what might be called envious feelings when other people are around.